Something went horribly wrong at McDonald's, and for once, it didn't involve the McFlurry machine.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know, but what came next is murder.
Oh, Black Betty, KAMALA.
And we cover the lady-punching, ball-crushing, Pulp Fiction gun-firing, cross-dressing, lesbian Jesus, and more. It's our coverage of the 2024 Olympics.
When they tell us to shut up, we do the opposite. This is the Talk Down.
Hi, everybody. I'm Adam Yenser, and I am wearing shorts under the desk with this suit. And also, I once did stand-up in a Mormon family's living room.
I'm Ethan Nicolle, and I was duped by a pet shop owner into trading 2 weekends of hard work for a feral, hairless, starve-crazed ferret. And I, too, am wearing shorts. I'm always wearing shorts.
I'm Michael Grumbine, and I was once struck by lightning
Wow.
while wearing shorts.
He clearly has the most fascinating story.
Yeah, he
right?
does.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? How did he get here?
I don't know. He's
Did you
your
invite
friend.
him? Yeah, I don't know.
The door was open.
He just showed
His
up.
name is Michael. Well, we will tell you these stories and more in the subscriber portion. So go to thetalkdown.com to join up and find out about him getting struck by lightning and me doing stand-up for a Mormon family and Ethan getting a ferret.
A crazy ferret. Oh, yeah, we'll tell that story. So, yeah, Michael Grumbine is here. I don't know if you guys, for those of you who listened to the Lord of the Rings podcast, the Babylon Bee back in the day, Michael Grumbine was...
Yep, all three of you.
Yeah. And then he's been on my podcast, on my Patreon show. He's a good friend from my Chestertonians group. He's got a big brain.
He's a very smart guy.
Very smart.
Very smart guy. We needed that on this show.
We need some smartness.
And for some bad news, boys.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, this is a very special 15th episode.
Yeah.
We're going to own the libs hard. We're going to crush communism under our heel.
Oh, my gosh.
With an iron fist. We're going to make comedy legal again.
Uh-huh.
And hey, you want to support the show.
Yeah.
Save free speech. It's gasping right now. Gasping like a guppy on the floor. But we're saving it. Anyway, how you guys doing?
Good. I had a good week. I was, if anybody didn't check out yet, I got to do Adam Carolla's podcast.
Oh, how'd that
this
go?
week. It was so much fun. He's so fun to interact with. There was a comedian on there. I'd not met her before. Her name was Jessica Keenan. We might have done a show together years ago, but I didn't know her well. But yeah, he was fun to talk to. You and I had interviewed him years ago for the podcast. He had me back in it. It was a really fun time.
You never had me back.
Well, I just have you emailed them?
No.
Yeah, and then and I had another. I also want to plug. I always forget to plug my dates. I'm doing Pechanga Casino August 9th and 10th this Friday and Saturday. Flappers in Burbank August 14th for the Burbank Comedy Festival, and I'm headlining TK's Comedy Club in Dallas August 22nd to 25th.
Flappers, TKs, and Pechanga.
Yeah, they're really easy to remember.
Sounds
I'm doing the circuit. That's what
sounds like streetcar food.
All comedians dream of doing that circuit.
I'll get a Flappers, 2 TKs, and a Pechanga, please.
But no, what I was going to say, something weird, not weird, but so, a few weeks ago on here, I talked about how I was hiking in Hollywood and someone had put MAGA flags in all the
Oh, yeah, that was a while back.
It was like everything is a few weeks ago to me.
Yeah,
in my brain. And we were talking about how weird it is that these people are that mentally ill that they're putting flags in dog poop. I was driving in Toluca Lake where I live this week, and on Riverside Drive, the main strip, I think we have a picture. This woman had set up this booth. It says Thera-Trumpy, Trump-induced anxiety help, 5 cents. Help, the faux doctor is in. And there's just a very, I don't know, haggard, worn-out old woman sitting there apparently offering therapy and ability to talk to people who are freaking out about Donald Trump or have anxiety. It never ceases to amaze me how crazy these people are.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what she was trying to do. Like, I would
There's
really
a
want to talk to
smaller
her.
sign that said voter registration also, so I think she's trying to register people for vote. But I just drove by and rolled down my window and very obviously took a picture of her and yelled Trump 2024, but she just kind of glared at me.
Well, because it was 5 cents, so I was trying to figure out if she's like tricking people. Like, they come down and start talking, and she's like, all of a sudden she's like owns them because she's a Trump supporter.
I don't think she was a Trump supporter.
It doesn't feel like
It doesn't feel like something a Trump supporter would do.
They're a little more out there, like up front with their thoughts.
Yeah.
They're not subtle generally.
But it really is. It's like the biggest mental health crisis in this country is the Democratic Party. It's just they're so crazy.
I remember back in 2016 when he won, and when he was admitted that he won, and it was. You know those memes for all of the woman screaming at the sky.
Oh yeah, that woman that goes,
and
famous.
They came up with like Trump derangement syndrome and everything. And I honestly thought, I'm not usually an optimist, but I honestly thought that it would be like this thing that they would get over.
Yes, I thought it would die down,
and
instead
apparently
they've committed to it for
apparently
8 years now.
The bit is so good.
Yes,
that 8 years later,
Nothing else.
He's got a therapy booth set up on Riverside Drive.
There'll be some great memes if he wins this year.
Oh yeah, I mean, I want him to win for the future of the country, but it's also just watching their freakouts. Here's what's hard about it, because you said you think people would get over it, and that's what makes me like nervous about it. It's funny when it's happening, but then when you realize they really are that distressed and crazy, and they stay that way, it's a little freaky knowing that we live in a country with people that are that off their rocker.
And like, how far are they going to go? Cause like, if they've gone as far as
they
like,
rioted for 9 months in a row.
all the rioting, like just all the trying to take Trump out, like get Trump into
all the
prison.
narratives they make up in the media,
all the
just
crazy
all
narratives.
the fear mongering. It's crazy.
Well,
Like, what's the end game?
Yeah.
Because it's going to keep getting worse.
They want when he's in charge, they want it to feel like a divisive, terrible time.
Yeah.
So they go out of their way to just have this mass hysteria the whole time about everything.
Right. And it doesn't even feel like it's deliberate in that regard. I actually think that it's their real.
They actually
this is
believe
how
it.
they actually really feel.
I think a lot of people believe that. I think the people in the media and in the Democratic Party know that they're fostering it.
Oh,
a little
sure.
bit. Yeah.
Sure. There's always those real politique actors. But yeah, I just think this is the most.
He uses smart words.
Yes.
The politique.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm a commie. That's the,
Breaking out the Spanish words for it.
The politique. I thought that was
I
Estonian.
know that was being stupid.
all right. I get. I rescind. What's the? See, I'm so smart.
Rescind is another smart word. I would just have gone, I didn't mean that. What was I saying?
That was not the word.
Yeah.
I'm Michael Grumbine. I regret all my earlier decisions today.
Oh, Grumbine. That's a fancy last name.
Grumbine. Man, what kind is that? Like a machine that churns out fancy words?
Actually, my name is actually German origin. It's Krumbin, so it's
Grumbine.
it literally means twisted leg. Or so that was the best thing you could say about one of my ancient ancestors. is
That he had a twisted leg.
like this guy, he's got nothing going for him. He wasn't a miller. He wasn't. No. He's just he's got a bad leg.
Wow.
So
He's a Kill Tony golden ticket winner.
Yeah.
If you listen to Kill Tony.
Ethan, how was your week? Anything new this week?
Well, I just happened today. My kid decided suddenly that he had to have a hamster.
Oh, I feel like all kids reach that point eventually.
Yeah, they used to have one a while back, but it's just something that became a new thing there.
Mm-hmm.
And we did the math, and I decided, my policy with them on pets is I'll pay for half of everything until they stop taking care of it, and then they have to pay for everything. And if they still don't take care of it, then I'm going to get rid of it.
No.
The last hamster we had, they don't know this. I don't know if they'll ever watch the podcast.
Oh, geez, you ate it?
No, I killed it with no. I just killed it with a hammer.
Wow, why?
It was horribly sick. Like, it had gotten become horribly sick.
Uh-huh.
It was suffering badly. It was clear that it was suffering badly.
I did not see that.
Is that
And one day my wife was like, we really got to do something about Dusty, man. And so it was on me. I'm the dad.
Yeah.
So I took Dusty back onto a brick and with a hammer.
gosh.
And I, as you know from past subscriber portions, I've experienced killing mice with hammers.
Yeah, but it gets more disturbing every time. Every time I think that's probably as far
But
as it's gonna
I got
go.
better because I put like a tissue over him.
Uh-huh.
And then I did it like that when I did like a super rapid fire. So he like,
Jeez.
for him, it was just like instant lights out. I'm pretty sure.
It was instant lights out
You
as
asked
you
him.
hit him 7 or 8 times.
So fast. It was within like half a second. He got hit like 9 times.
Would you like shoot it or something, or like?
That would probably get the cops.
I mean, it's a small animal, but still.
I mean, there'd be bits of hamster all over the backyard. I'm trying to do it in a way I could bury him, and the kids wouldn't find evidence.
But you said he was
I
very
have a
sick.
shotgun.
Wouldn't he have died? Wouldn't he have died naturally, like in a few
blank.
minutes anyway?
But let him suffer for like days. I think it was just like time for him.
I've always said a hamster. It's like the perfect pet to get little kids if you want to teach them responsibility, and then a week later teach them about death. So they're always going to die imminently.
I have had to reportedly drive animals out to the hills because I just don't hit them with a hammer. That's my if they
you're
stop
too
taking
weak.
care of them. Am I too weak? I guess it is. I guess I am.
Or are they not wanted, or are they horribly sick. He looked bad. Like he was missing patches of hair. His like eyes were like this, and he was making these whining sounds. Like he was dying. Man.
He was making these whining sounds. Please don't hit me with that hammer. I'm getting better.
I have so much to live for. It's just COVID.
I think I'll go for a walk. No, you won't.
The only animal I ever saw,
He was old. For a hamster, he was really old.
When I was younger, we had a goat, and he got to be 14, and he had a stroke, so his head was like kind of crooked, and he was having trouble walking. And so my dad had to put him down, but he had to fight that thing with a hammer for like an hour.
That's a long hammer fight, yeah. They don't keep that tissue on their head when you
he put the tissue over his head and then just whacked away for a long, long time.
Wow. If I didn't know this was Animal Death Hour, I would have brought more stories. I do have some.
It always turns into Animal
This
Death
guy
Hour
had
with
nine
this guy.
kids right there, this guy.
Really?
9 kids.
Nine
There
kids.
has to be a lot of pets he gone through.
We have, yes.
What are some of the most like exotic pets you've had?
Well, so we don't do hamsters, we do guinea pigs.
Okay.
Those aren't exotic, but they are, in fact...
They're from New Guinea.
No, they're just some normal guinea.
And they're actually...
Old guinea.
I like to remind my children that they are actually eaten in certain South American countries.
Yeah.
So if it turns out that they don't take care of the pets, there's always the other option.
You can eat it.
Right.
Which is we can just go to the food option, which... Because we are...
Have some of that guinea pig bacon.
Nice.
But we've had a lot of things, a lot of animals over the years. But I'm holding the line on dogs. I don't do dogs.
Oh, really? Are you a cat person?
No, I don't actually like cats. But we did have 2 cats that I gave in because we had a rat problem. So I said, we'll try out cats. And if the rat problem doesn't go away, then the cats are going to go away too.
Oh, okay. So you're more of a cat person.
By default, I guess.
That explains why you got that gay drink at the restaurant.
Yeah.
It was the gayest drink on the menu.
I sat down next to Michael at the sports bar.
It's a very
We were meeting
fruity
up at
tropical
a very
drink.
manly sports bar. And I go, what are you drinking? He goes, a sexy tractor.
A sexy tractor, that's what it's called.
Why'd you pick the sexy tractor?
I thought you
Just
said
try something different.
When I walked in, you explained it. I thought you said sexy cracker. I thought it was like a racist drink for white people. I was like, they called it that?
And it's so colorful.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
We think it'd be more white.
exactly.
Well, what about you're visiting, Michael? You're visiting, what you got going on this week?
I am visiting because we're returning. We are residents of South Carolina right now in Charleston. We are returning to Southern Carolina. We're bucking
It's like a
the trend.
reconnaissance mission or something?
Yeah, lots of looking at some properties, also some business. But no, we're bucking the trend. Turns out U-Haul will actually pay us to take their trucks back to California.
Nice.
That's a
It's not true. It's not true. Don't. I mean,
Are you missing the tropical storm there?
I am. I abandoned
You
my
left
family.
your
As a
family
good
in the middle of
father.
Yeah.
I left them.
Oh, they're still there. They're still floating on a board.
9 kids.
9 kids on one board on a roof with a helicopter circling, trying to drop the ladder.
They're definitely not going to watch this episode. Not all of them. Cutting off the internet in my house. But yes, they are in the middle of the tropical storm. We had a part of the tree get sheared off behind our house. And
Wow.
everything's green. 3 tornadoes touched down within a few miles of my house.
Wow.
Pretty interesting.
That's what you're like,
They'll
I'm
say
going to head to California and see if we can move back there
Yeah.
right now.
Sadly, I was in the air already, so
I see.
it's too late.
Bummer.
You could see them on the roof from the sky. Bye, kids. Daddy's going to
They
California.
don't turn these around. Yeah.
And I am never coming back on this show.
Oh, man. That's what most of our guests say.
All right, well, let's talk
get to
down the
the
week's
news?
top news.
Let's do it.
Man stabs another man to death in Indonesia over what came first, the chicken or the egg. According to a report from an Indonesian news outlet, a man was stabbed 15 times in a bar fight that started with the age-old argument over which came first, the chicken or the egg.
Ugh.
The 2 men didn't know each other before meeting at the watering hole, but the argument got so heated that one of the men ran home and grabbed a knife. So he actually ran. Hold
He was
on.
like, I'm going to go
in
home.
the middle of the fight.
That makes it premeditated.
Yeah, it's pretty premeditated.
Yeah. Murder.
I'm going to go back and come back with a knife to stab this guy.
The stab victim sadly died on scene, and the perp quickly turned himself into the police. And then, yeah, it's such a sad and senseless thing to lose one's life over, and we still don't even know which guy was arguing which side. So,
I feel like that's a convenient argument to get stabbed to death in the middle of because you're arguing over it. And then if you don't, I don't know that you know when you die, you just pop up in heaven and you'd be like, oh God, you can settle this. I was just arguing with a guy. So which came first?
If I was right, can you make sure he gets arrested immediately?
Yeah.
Do we have what do you think Michael is? Well, okay, Adam was a major in philosophy.
I have a double major, film and video and philosophy.
So philosophy major. Then we got Michael, who's, I don't know, I'm sure there's something, you study, you've read a lot.
I have, unfortunately.
So what do you think? What are the masters, what are the brilliant philosophical minds say on this topic?
I don't know about that, but I can tell you that whoever got stabbed, he did lose, according to Darwin, right?
Yeah,
right. That's true.
That's yeah.
So
regardless of which came first, he was gone first.
Yes, and it probably means he was wrong. So whoever the other guy, the knife wielder, was right.
I see.
No, it was definitely a chicken that came first.
I always think
because an egg can't come out of nothing but.
And I was thinking of the chicken in terms of creation,
Right.
It's just,
I am a Christian.
Or if it's evolution, then it had to be like whatever. At some point, a grasshopper? What turns into a chicken in evolution?
A grasshopper.
A T-Rex. The T-Rex. Doesn't the T-Rex become the chicken?
Oh, yeah, so a radiated T-Rex at some point becomes, suddenly it got like one feather plucked out.
Yeah.
A feather there, and then all of a sudden it lays the very first egg. Well, no, I guess
life finds a way.
They were. I mean, I guess that's an argument for it being a.
Then the egg would come first, right? Because the egg would have to form before the.
That would have come out of an egg.
It would hatch from the egg. It would be a. See, that's hard because it would be a chicken inside the egg. Right. They would kind of occur simultaneously. I would say.
Yes.
I think we just solved it. It was
right. It's always the chicken.
Yeah, I think the chicken,
even when it's an egg, it's the chicken.
So whatever animal has to come first. Miraculously birthed an evolved chicken.
Yeah.
Glad we were able to solve this.
So no one's pro egg on this panel?
Nope.
I mean, in either way. Well, okay.
Because I have a knife in my backpack.
Oh, stab you. I really want to hear the argument because I want to know at what point they went, okay, right, we got to do some stabbing.
Like, this is one of those things where I think there had to be some sort of ad hominems thrown in, some sort of personal attacks because
it probably got heated. It's like, no, point, you idiot.
I'm sure they were drunk.
Actually believe, no matter how drunk you are.
One of them probably called the other one a cat lady. Then the other one called the other one weird, and they were just like,
you're the chicken.
Yeah. Well, that argument turned into a real dumpster fire. And speaking of dumpster fires, McDonald's employee was sentenced to prison for setting dumpster fire because restaurant was too crowded. A McDonald's employee named Joshua Darrell McGregor was working at a store in Savannah, Georgia, and was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to lighting a fire inside a dumpster to clear out customers because the restaurant was overcrowded. McGregor lit a piece of cardboard on fire and threw it in the dumpster outside the restaurant that was already full of cardboard and other flammable materials. He ensured the fire ignited before going back inside the restaurant, according to the press release. He also filmed the fire with his cell phone and posted the video on social media.
I think that's where you have to.
Yeah.
That's the big.
He might. I would have gotten away with it if I hadn't posted on social media and said I did it.
Also, like a crowded restaurant is already a fire hazard, and then I'm sure a burning dumpster it's a fire hazard. He tried to solve one fire hazard with a different.
I also don't know if there was a dumpster fire outside. They'd be like, "Hey, everybody, go in the restaurant. There's a fire out here."
Maybe I don't know. Or they go, "Oh, it's going to start." I don't understand.
Unless it was close to the building.
Yeah.
And it says McGregor was training to be a manager at the establishment. I'm guessing he didn't get that.
Well,
yeah.
I think the U.S. attorney says something about that too, which I found to be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Intentionally setting a fire in an effort to shut down or damage someone else's property is inexcusable, U.S. Attorney Steinberg said in the press release. Joshua McGregor will have substantial time to ponder his post-prison employment options, which I love how the federal prosecutor is taking this snarky victory lap in his statement about justice done. So you're so pleased with yourself for convicting a McDonald's employee, you feel the need to remind them of their employment options after it's done.
Yeah.
It's just, it's this, I don't know. You think about all the wheels of justice and all the money that went into, like they prosecuted this guy.
Yeah.
They're throwing him in jail for years. You know that no one was hurt because they would have said something. Like, what's the worst thing they said? The restaurant had to be temporarily shut down, and customers in the drive-through lane needed to back out of the parking lot. Okay.
Oh, man.
Really terrible.
They really
and
cleared
he burned a bunch
out.
of cardboard in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Okay.
I melted the lid, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Okay. So you melted a lid. Great. And they prosecute this one to the hilt, and they go on the record sarcastically commenting. I don't know. This is an odd take, but I'm not on his side. I want to make it clear.
I mean, he should be punished.
like you're kind of
I do not endorse arson, just so everyone's clear. However, this is a McDonald's employee. Who among us has not at some point at McDonald's thought,
I want to start a dumpster fire and scare all these people away?
And by the way, if they want to prosecute a dumpster fire, have they seen the state of the McDouble recently?
It does seem like a lot. And I guess they were going for 15 years, it says in the story here. The defense attorney said they were going for 15 years, and luckily they only got 5, but he still thinks it's a travesty of justice.
Wow. That's a lot to serve time for a dumpster fire. It's a terrible thing.
It didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
I might have had some damage, but he's got to pay for the damage.
You think he has a plan to break out of prison? He's like calling his friends. He's like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to light a dumpster fire outside the prison. They have to let us out then.
I also, was he doing this as a manager? Like, all right, this is, as a manager, I'm going to solve this problem of too many people in the McDonald's.
Right.
Dumpster fire will disperse the people.
It's an efficiency.
Was he thinking like he was
If he was the manager at the time, I feel like he would have told someone else to do it. Like, hey, you got time to lean, you got time to go start a dumpster fire.
his mugshot is quite the...
Yeah, he does look a little...
Or are we making fun of someone with clear issues?
I mean, he had a bad... it's always in their worst day, the mugshots.
Is that Ellen?
Except Trump. Trump's mugshot was pretty good.
He just looks like he had a really bad day.
Yeah.
He does look like kind of like Ellen a little bit.
He looks like he got caught setting a McDonald's dumpster on fire.
And he thought it was a good idea, then realized it wasn't. Well, speaking of strange ways to solve problems, RFK Jr. admits to dumping a dead bear cub in Central Park as Roseanne Barr listens in bizarre video.
One of my favorite stories of the week.
So presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. released a bizarre video on X Sunday in which he tells comedian Roseanne Barr by the time he dumped a dead bear cub in New York City's Central Park a decade ago.
And if they think that's bad, wait till they hear what his Uncle Teddy did in Chappaquiddick.
In the video, he explains that he's trying to get ahead of a story the New Yorker is working on.
I don't understand.
So
it sounds like they're trying to write but also the New Yorker.
We got to get ahead of this.
They were also the ones that ran that, or no, that was, what was it? Vanity Fair.
Eating the dog?
Eating the dog, and there was brainworms. Mm-hmm. They keep trying to run these things like they're hit pieces on him.
I know.
And it's just a strange...
Is it even a threat right now?
I feel like if you're someone who's going to vote for RFK Jr. and you hear he hit a bear carcass in Central Park, you're still going to vote
with
for
a bike,
RFK Jr.
Yeah.
It sounds like something cooler, he'd do.
Well, and there's other details too.
No.
So, for example, turns out he wasn't just driving along. Mm-hmm. He was with a group of people. He was taking falconing. So falconing,
that makes you cool.
Right.
Who goes falconing?
Well, falconing, training an animal to kill another animal for sport.
Yeah.
It's like legal version of underground dogfighting for the 1%.
Ethan, you should train a falcon to kill your future hamsters.
That's a good idea.
It's time. And then you just raise your hand and the falcon comes in and gets it.
I can't do a falcon voice. Best I got. It's like a dying cat. I got a buddy who's a falcon. That's a good idea, though.
That's crazy.
Rob him over.
Yeah.
So, but he never got to falcon, in fact.
Yeah, he went out, was supposed to be falcon, but he kind of spent the whole day doing stuff, and he said, I pulled over, I picked up the bear, put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear, and I put the meat in my refrigerator. Oh, and put it. So his plan was to put it in the refrigerator later in the day when he finally got around to getting home.
He was going to put the meat in his refrigerator, and then he realized it was a bear, not a dog, and he was like, "Oh, I've got to throw it back." It's the roadkill I want.
You have a big refrigerator. But I figured he's like a Kennedy, I guess.
Yeah.
A bunch of refrigerators.
Oh, those Kennedys and their big refrigerator.
He never got around to getting back home, and his schedule was too full to bring back before it started to go bad. And there's even like butlers for this kind of thing. Jeez.
This might be
a bear on the road over here. Pick him up, skin him, get him ready. I didn't want to leave the bear in my car because that would have been bad, RFK says. Because, it would have gotten stinky. Because I think he had to, take off on a flight or something. So he recounts how, at the time, this being 2014, but this isn't that long ago, there had been a series of bicycle accidents, some of which resulted in the deaths of several people. Like one bike accident, several people died?
I think multiple bike accidents in which
so not like one bike.
Times. Either way, it's kind of strange that there was multiple fatal bike accidents.
Yeah.
But
maybe they're flying down hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So RFK told Barr that he had an old bike in his car and came up with the idea to put the bear in Central Park and make it look like he got hit by a bike.
I think the Democratic Party considered doing this to Biden. Like, what if we just put him in Central Park and make it look like a bike killed him?
Is that what the whole falling over on a bike
That
is?
was the back. Yeah, that was the backup plan. We'll just lay him out and put a bike next to him and be like, oh, we got to pick someone else now.
Everybody knows he falls over on bikes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to look like a bear got in a bike wreck. It's like crashed right into a tree or something.
Like a circus bear.
Yeah,
like
like
a little
it's
hat.
riding it,
It's
yeah,
riding
yeah.
a little bicycle.
Make it like a whole series. You can't figure what the hell happened. The bear's got like a knife and you just whatever you can find in the car. Give it a Gatorade bottle. All right.
Seems like I can't believe there weren't some interesting substances involved in this story because the shock where he got to the part of the story where he's telling Roseanne, I turned on the TV and there was a mile of yellow tape and he was shocked. It was 20 cop cars and helicopters and I was like, oh my God, what did I do? Noting that his prints were all over the bike. It's like, this wasn't something you thought of before.
Yeah.
Like when you're like, if it's a joke, I mean, it's a bear, it's a dead bear in Central Park. The cops are going to get called.
Yeah.
So
Are they going to dust for prints of a bear murder?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Apparently not, because they didn't.
It's going to be a bad story, RFK says in the video, eliciting laughter from Barr, not bears, Barr, and others in the room.
All right. So
RFK has so many good stories.
He does. He's a good story guy.
Yeah.
look, I have to admit, politically, never going to vote for a Kennedy, but man, I wanted to vote for this guy after I heard this story. So look at the guy's out falconing with friends. They accidentally kill a bear. He decides to prank the entire local community with a dead body. This is like some
And not
Game
just
of
some
Thrones
weird local
episode.
community, New York City, the largest city in the world.
So, do I want this guy to be president? Kind of, yeah. I mean, that's he kind of out Trump in this, with this kind of story.
It's a great story, yeah.
Yeah, and coming from you don't imagine a Kennedy doing this kind of thing, to me anyway, but I don't know. I assume they're just so rich and like snooty tooty, but he just doesn't, he feels like the weirdo of the family.
So him not so much, maybe not this kind of thing, but they also seem like they like the drink and they're rich
true.
party people. I feel like they have a lot of shady stories.
Yeah.
That's all they have is shady stories.
He has a good sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that he might consider killing and eating,
A man. Oh, go ahead.
are you going to do it? Oh, I don't know.
You can do this one, yeah.
All right, why not? Man living as a dog in a 12,500 pound costume, getting out of hand with husky friend.
That's pounds as in English pounds.
English pounds.
It doesn't weigh 12,500 pounds.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Be a heavy costume.
Then he'd be the husky.
Yeah.
I did look it up. It's the original story in Japan was that it was a 2 million yen, which sounds much more impressive, the costume. So a man who's chosen to live as a dog in a 12,500 pound, nearly 16,000 US dollars collie costume may have taken things a bit too far. He's been spotted frolicking with a mate. You know that word.
Mate.
Dressed as a human husky. The YouTuber known as Toko, 70,000 followers.
Jeez.
It's our next target.
So he's Japanese. Is that where this is taking place?
So.
So in Japan, their dogs are men and Hello Kitty is a girl.
I thought of that.
Not a kitty, yeah.
So he first made headlines when he expressed his wish to live life as a dog and began posting peculiar videos of himself engaging in dog-like behavior, strolling down streets, being petted, even assuring a child that he doesn't bite, which is exactly what a biting dog would say to a
Yeah,
child.
exactly.
Is that like what Jessica Rabbit whispers in Bob Hoskins' ear in Toontown and like Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I don't bite. Something like that. I don't know. It's just creepy.
It does
to me.
seem like a
Nothing
Roger
would.
Rabbit sort of episode.
I feel like nothing would make a parent pull a child away faster than if a man saying he can pet me, I don't bite.
A lifelike dog.
Yeah.
Saying to I assume they might have a bit of a lisp. I don't know. I don't bite.
Oh boy. Rumor jokes. I won't say them. After a period of silence on his social media accounts, the human dog has reemerged with a furry companion. So this is the real story, apparently.
Okay.
Toko's in his most recent video, he's seen playing tug of war and dancing with someone in a husky suit. So it's a
Dogs dance. I didn't know dogs danced.
Not only they dance, but if you watch, which I admit I did,
You watched this video?
I watched a video of him showing how hard it would be to be a dog. So he has this series of videos where he tries to do dog running and jumping in his dog costume and jump through various hoops and obstacles. And it's terrible at it. It's ridiculous. And so the fact that, I mean, like,
Gotta be rough on that $16,000 suit.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, really.
Like how many times do you have to repair it? So he still appears like a person in a fancy dress, but he can now be seen hanging out with another human who also wants to be a dog. It seems he's found his match.
Wow.
As like a trans dog, I don't get is like, is it the same with a trans woman
Yeah, does
is
he
a
do
woman?
it? Does he do it for attention or fun, or does he have something
he
where he
believe-
identifies as like,
Should
I
we
want
buy-
to be a dog?
He literally
that?
does want to
He
be a
does want
dog.
to be a dog.
So we should just say it's a dog. We shouldn't be saying,
We shouldn't dead
dog.
species him.
right. You think so? A trans dog is a real dog,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I guess. But is this...
It'd be funny if the guy who lives in a dog costume and the guy who lives in the husky costume mean another guy who lives in a pit bull costume, and he just tears them apart. He just he's
first-
committed to being just a
first
vicious
trans dog
a vicious
murderer
animal. Yeah.
He's committed to being like the pit bull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel so they do this pokey dance, and but they're very human,
Like
dance
dogs
moves.
do. Pokey
right?
dance.
Just like dogs. It's very disturbed actually. And apparently one of them pushes the other around in a buggy.
Just
Oh, they're like
real
a guy,
dog.
right? A human? Or is it a dog pulling
No,
the
it's-
dog around?
The collie being pushed around. Oh, wait, I thought it was the other dog, but I guess it might be the owner.
It says the buggy by his owner in quotes.
Oh, so he has there's a third person.
There's a third weirdo involved.
They're like a butler.
just when you
a
thought it
third
couldn't get
strange
worse.
person.
It's like the John to Garfield. They have this guy that walks around.
Oh my gosh.
They're just all Odies.
I'm just worried that the suits are pretty realistic looking. I'm worried we're going to get to the point where dog costumes are so realistic looking. I'll just be suspicious of any dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be like, you tell me, right?
Yeah, don't lick me.
And they'll tell you.
I better not catch you dancing.
They'll tell you.
Poke dancing.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
I don't bite. So I get 70,000 YouTube subscribers. So
Well,
that's your next number.
I guess
to
we
get
need
to.
to. I guess we need to do it then. They got way more than we do.
You
Yeah, we
gotta
should try that.
up your game.
I gotta try something.
We'll wear realistic dog costumes next week.
We have to invest all our money in dog costumes.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I'm leaving.
No, you're going to be our owner.
If I was here, turns out, sadly,
Some of the things people were like calling, like commenting, or I don't know if they're saying this in the video about them. Like, I love the new husky. A baffled spectator remarked, "This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them." This all sounds like subtitles. Like,
it sounds like they're egging him
oh,
on.
this is so
actually.
cute. I'm glad you have a husky friend that shares interests. It's so weird. It sounds like something out of like
Sounds like AI generated
Yeah,
auto
it's so
comments.
weird.
Like maybe they don't have. Maybe they did that thing to get to 70,000 where they just paid for engagement,
Or just
and then
bad
there's
writing.
auto generated
Right,
comments.
but it's just all bots.
Yeah,
this guy wanted to be a dog, so he went and became
Dead
a dog.
internet-
That's
dead internet
admirable.
theory.
I'm happy you're following your dreams, and I wish you luck.
Those sound real, totally real.
It grosses me out that actual adults are like all excited about two men dressed
Yeah,
$16,000 dog costumes, and they're wondering if they're going to find love. Like that's the next part it talks about a bit.
Wonder what the next animal to get this treatment is going to be.
Yeah, pick one that's way more hard anatomically, like a
Armadillo.
yeah, yeah, or a bat. Nancy Pelosi could pull off a bat, but I don't know, like not many people could do that body type.
Yeah. Or maybe a woolly mammoth.
yes.
Mm.
Speaking of the woolly mammoth, scientists are reportedly poised to bring back the woolly mammoth from extinction. Was this your story, Ethan?
Yeah, but Michael stepped on my awesome transition.
Oh, okay. You want to still
greatest
do
transition.
it? You can still
You
do
know,
it.
while this story has people saying, "What's up, dog?" This next one could have them saying, "What's up, woolly mammoth?"
Now it's your story. You've taken ownership. of it.
Scientists are reportedly poised to bring back the woolly mammoth from extinction. Scientists have said they are going to bring back the dodo bird. They also managed to make a meatball out of cloned mammoth flesh.
I remember that story. That was like a year or two ago. Yeah.
The Sicilian in me was like, whatever happened to that meatball?
Yeah, nobody ate it.
Somebody.
I would try mammoth meatball.
I would too.
But now they say they're going to make a full actual mammoth clone. This is a scientist quote. In the case of the woolly mammoth, ancient remnants of DNA have been found buried in fossils recovered from Earth's frozen tundra. But this information contains only around 100 base pairs, which isn't nearly enough to get a full genetic picture of this majestic pachyderm. but a new international study spearheaded by the researchers at Rice University have successfully uncovered a fossilized chromosome from a 52,000-year-old mammoth. It was essentially freeze-dried after it died in what is now Siberia. Instead of containing the usual 100 base parts, this chromosomal discovery is upwards of 1 million times longer and shows both how the genome was organized in living cells and what genes were active in its skin tissue.
Wow.
Do you guys understand that? I don't understand any of that.
I don't understand it technically, but
Cool.
yeah.
This episode brought to you
I've
by
been-
science.
I'm so excited for this. There's been stories about this like for a while where they've been trying to do this. I'm 100% in favor.
Oh, I'm
of
all
bringing
for it.
that.
Bring all the dinosaurs
I would
back.
love to go see a mammoth.
Exactly. But also when I'm reading this story, I see these quotes from the scientists like, this is everything wrong with our whole ecologically sensitive science group these days. They say, at best, here's the worry. At best, humans created elephant hybrid that doesn't really fit the natural world. Wrong. At
best, we have an awesome hairy. We have like Snuffleupagus in real life.
Yeah.
We just leveled up all our mounts, like riding woolly mammoths. Like, what is wrong with these?
That
these
sounds
science-
They're way
cool.
bigger than elephants, right?
They're larger. Yeah.
They're generally larger.
Yeah.
Plus, you can slide down their tusks and go to work.
Yes, exactly.
That's right.
There was a cool story. I was obsessed with this a few years ago. I think it was in the Atlantic. There's a Korean company in South Korea, and they were purchasing. There was a whole like article about this. They were purchasing DNA samples from lots of different ice age animals, like mammoths,
Like collecting like Pokemon.
Yeah, they were collecting DNA, and this same company, they also bought like 30,000 acres of empty tundra in Canada. So they own the DNA, and they own this like tundra in Canada that's in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, they're doing it. I'm like, I hope
Jurassic
they're
Parking
doing
it.
it.
We all know what happens next.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep, the mammoths.
This is awesome.
Life finds a way.
That's the other part of the quote. The scientists are like, at worst, we introduce an invasive species to the Arctic tundra.
I would love if that was the invasive species.
That's the worst you can imagine
Yeah.
Then
about
you just
bringing
get
back
to
mammoths is
Awesome.
an invasive species.
And you have awesome hunting expeditions out there hunting
And
mammoths.
also, how fast would they become an invasive species? Like, it would go from, oh, there's a mammoth to, oh, I'm tired of seeing all these mammoths.
mammoth pests getting in my trash.
There's another
again.
one. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
They can send people out. Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
like in Australia, they have like just like you get rewarded for how many possums you
Yeah.
kill. Just be like out there just with a tank taking out mammoths.
You have to hunt them the old
a
way with
win-win.
a spear. You go out with a bunch of your friends.
See, that's definitely what the Canadians will do. They'll make you like hunt them with a spear.
And if we had, you know what, if there's overlap where woolly mammoths exist at the same time as RFK Jr., imagine the stories that will happen.
Right.
All sorts of hijinks ensue. Well, and that's not the only way mad scientists are trying to manipulate nature. Researchers say footage of old experiment proves chimpanzees can speak English.
How old?
It's from the 60s. I think it says down here, 62.
So this whole time they could speak English?
There was
I'll
old
listen.
footage from the, yeah. So scientists used to believe one of the main things that separates humans from primates is our ability to speak. I would also argue that it's our ability to outgrow throwing poop. But, you know, but new research suggests chimpanzees
Not all of us.
may be able to talk as well. An international team of scientists reviewed footage of chimps who had been raised by humans in conditions which would now be considered unethical. The article makes sure to point out these were horrible monkey experiments. Their analysis of this footage, filmed in 1962, suggests that chimpanzees are capable of saying simple human words such as mama. This discovery could overturn old assumptions about ape psychology. You know, I had a lot of old assumptions about ape psychology that I need to
Antiquated.
Yeah, they're outdated.
Yeah.
And show
That's
that
all the patriarchy, really.
yeah, the neural circuitry of language evolved earlier than previously thought. The question of whether apes are capable of speech is a topic that has divided generations of scientists. I didn't know this was a big.
A lot of
big
knife
fight.
fights in the,
Yes,
in the old
which
Indonesian
came
bars about
first,
this
speech
one.
or the monkey?
I'm going home to get my stabbing knife.
And look, so this whole article boils down to this debate
Yeah.
having about whether monkey. So essentially, though, what it boils down to, what we find out the extent of their research is they found a couple old videotapes
of a monkey maybe saying mama. It's making a sound that kind of sounds like mama.
From the unethical experiments. Yes. So there's one group of scientists that lived like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
They're apparently capable. They can do actual research with chimps.
Yes.
And there's a second group of scientists that live today. They're just like, what our science involves finding old videotapes and noticing that they taught them how to say mama.
It's also weird that It's also weird that some of them are trying to ignore this because it was under unethical conditions. Like, no, monkeys can't talk, but we have that. No, that was unethical conditions.
Doesn't count, buddy. Says mama.
Beginning in the 1900s, this debate culminated in a series of extremely unethical experiments in which people tried to raise chimpanzees like humans. For example, the researchers referenced the case of Keith and Catherine Hayes, who adopted a chimp to raise in 1947. The couple later claimed that the chimp, which they named Vicky, had learned simple words like mama, cup, and up. Do you think they tried to pass Vicky off as like a little girl? Don't make fun of her. Let her use the ladies' room and join women's sports team. Very little direct evidence from these early trials survived, and due to the trauma of separating chimps from their families, the results have largely been dismissed. The researchers, however, uncovered 2 videos of chimps which appear to be capable of saying mama. The first shows a chimpanzee named Johnny who lived at the Suncoast Primate Sanctuary in Palm Harbor, Florida. I like how they talk about how traumatic and unethical the conditions were, and then it's like he lived in the Suncoast Resort in Palm Harbor, Florida.
Apparently for some time.
Yeah. In the comments of the video, the original poster wrote, "Johnny called everyone mama. He was a marvelous animal and lived to 63 years of age." The second video shows a clip from a film titled, "Now Hear This, Italians Unveil Talking Chimp," which was released in 1962 as part of Universal Studios' series of newsreels. In the chimp, a chimpanzee named Renata is tapped on the chin by a handler who prompts her to say something which sounds like mama.
Wow.
It's where they say Italians unveil.
Yeah, I should have got it to say Mario.
Or Mamma Mia.
This whole story baffles me. Have they never heard of parrots? Parrots can say lots of words.
Yeah, but it would be interesting if chimpanzees could talk.
And they can do it without lips. That's what I was thinking. I was at the pet store today, and
Yeah.
my kids are cracking up with this parrot. Just kept going, hi. And they were dying laughing. I'm like, I never thought about parrots don't have lips. How do they do this? How do they make these noises?
Long story short, Ethan now has a parrot that he's going to have to kill with a hammer someday.
At some point.
Don't do it. 200 years from now when it gets sick.
A $6,000, like some kind of cockatoo.
Don't parrots live like 150 years or something?
That's tortoises.
No, I think parrots live really long too, don't they?
Parrots or parents?
Parrots.
I don't know. Hey Siri, how long do parrots live? I don't know. I just said that as in case there was a Siri nearby. I don't know. Yeah.
Even Siri doesn't listen to us.
What I always find fascinating, the idea of us evolving from monkeys, is when you look at that chart of all the idea is right that the least likely to survive one is the first one, and then they keep becoming more and more likely to survive. You go through all the millions of years, and you finally get to us, the most likely to survive. Well, how come us and the least likely to survive one is still alive, but all those other guys are dead?
Yeah.
Who are supposed to be way more likely to survive than the first guy, right? I don't get it.
Sounds like you don't do enough science.
Can you explain that to me? If you were pretending you're a scientist right now.
I think the argument from evolution is that they lived in different climates and different environments and were suited to different habitats. So, for instance, the chimpanzees and gorillas still exist, but they exist in these small pockets, and they are almost extinct. Whereas humans were able to thrive in all these different environments around the world.
Right. It isn't.
It is the only thing that's weird is like none of the, except for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Just none of these gradients out of all those are just bizarre to me. They're like, there's.
All I ask in life, I would like to see a Bigfoot and a woolly mammoth.
Yeah, right.
Well, you can get one of those.
Yeah.
Or at least a meat.
They claim to have Bigfoot DNA, so why can't they do Bigfoot?
And it better be a good one, not a 5 foot tall one.
Yeah, Killer Hunt Bigfoot.
That was a great episode. You all should go back and watch that.
That's Trevor. All right, well, we're at the part of the show where we like to thank you, the listener and the viewer, for watching our show and reading a little comment. So we're going to go to our YouTube comments, and I just saw this one.
Okay.
I don't get what it means. I can't tell if this is hostile or not. Pop-Tart 22-14P says, absolutely stunning. Ethan would admit to being the bed until he was 15 and still behave like a complete snob. There are no words.
My favorite is when people who have lots of words say there are no words after they've just left you with a lengthy
Yeah, a
comment.
bunch of words.
Apparently you think there are a bunch of words.
But was I like joking around about being a snob, or is this just them saying I'm a snob?
It sounds like they're calling you that, but I don't. Yeah.
Because I can't remember that episode. I didn't listen back to that.
You talk about peeing in some form or another in most episodes. So I don't know.
But it was last we were talking about. We were trying to pitch comedy to each other, right? Jokes. I can't remember. I might have kept saying I don't know if I said.
But
that.
you were 15 and peed, and this person's username is 14p. So
14p.
Maybe they outgrew it only slightly before you did.
Good catch. They are named after a breakfast food too, so I don't think I would take
Pop-Tart
to heart their.
Pop-Tarts are cute. That's a cute screen name.
Sure.
adorable.
Maybe it was auto-generated.
Yeah. 22.
You know when it just suggests like, here, use this. This is your screen name.
At the end of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And here's our feature Apple podcast review. Russell says, gave us 5 stars and said, so Ethan has something to read next week. As a fan of the old B podcast and Audio Mullet, I like this show. It's funny and nice to hear something news related that is mostly not news related. And he talks like a snob all the time. No.
We actually did have a few options for, we got a few reviews. Thank you, everybody.
Nice.
But I like that he called out the fact that we were just struggling for reviews last week.
Yeah.
That was good.
Please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. And odds are we'll wind up reading it on the show.
Review. Yeah, we need those reviews too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, reviews. You love Lord of the Rings? Of course you do, because you're watching us.
And also, do you hate watch the new Lord of the Rings on the Amazon Prime app? Of course you do, because you're like us. Well, guess we've got a treat for you.
You should totally check out.
We're not editing this.
No, it's just keep rolling. Just keep rolling.
You should totally
Right. Just keep
What's
you
called?
follow us. So it turns out that I do a podcast too. It's about Tolkien and it's about hating Rings of Power, and it is called Exploring Tolkien.
Do you complain about how woke stuff is?
I do.
Awesome.
It is woke, so woke. Rings of Power is terrible.
Right? The views expressed in this commercial do not represent Adam and Winter or the talked out. You can continue now.
Scrolling
You can
marquee to
continue.
go by and say,
Yeah.
say all the necessary legal steps. So if you would like Tolkien, the real Tolkien, and you enjoy hearing people talk for long periods of time about things that don't matter but are pretty cool, then join us on Exploring Tolkien. Go to
Who else
OneRing.com. Jonathan Watson is my co-host, and Dan joins us occasionally.
Dan Coates.
Oh,
Dan Coates
is a great guy.
from the Babylon Bee, and he will be he'll be joining us this week again because I'm here in California. And
Nice.
So is he.
Awesome.
So yep, check us out. Give us a like or subscribe.
Or both.
Or both. Right.
Oh, Black Betty. KAMALA.
That was
We gotta see what's going on with KAMALA. She's
she picked her running mate,
running mate. Oh yeah, Tim
Walz.
Walt.
He's from.
I want to call him Waltz.
Tim Walt.
A lot of people have been saying Waltz, but I think it's Walz. I'm not sure.
Waltz.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that really.
He's just another brick in the wall.
It just seems like they're doing the same thing. The media is the same thing they do with KAMALA, where they're having a big, we're all excited for this.
It's so weird.
Like, there was a survey that said 71% of Americans haven't heard of him. And I don't know much about him.
Well, I didn't even count.
He's the governor of
I have a
Minnesota.
hard time even believing people are excited about KAMALA.
Oh, I don't believe that either. And if they are excited, I think it's going to wear off. But
It's bizarre. Like I feel like that's what they're trying to do right now. Is like I constantly am seeing. I don't even know how I'm getting all these tweets.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they're paying for it to be in my feed.
yeah,
But just to look like
They are
KAMALA's,
paying
like,
for it to
everything's
be in your feed.
energized and it's also like all this like trash talking Trump from KAMALA.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're afraid to debate me or whatever.
well, it's been like this for years, but it is just it's always frustrating and depressing the way, except for Fox News, which is seen as like a right-leaning network. All the news stations, when Trump picks his running mate, it's instantly like, how can we make
How are
this
they
person
Hitler?
look
Yeah.
bad? How is this
Yeah.
person stupid? And then when the Democrats pick theirs, it's like this big celebration.
yeah.
It's
someone
like,
no one ever heard
it's
about.
so like awful how the media is just in the tank for one.
Well, that's my
One side
favorite
of the
thing about
candidacy.
Tim Walz, or however you say it, was that's his claim to fame.
Yes.
He was the guy who, when Jason Vance appeared on the scene, was the first guy that started using the weird. He's calling Jason Vance weird. He appeared on what's the Joe show, morning show.
You call him Jason Vance?
Did I call him Jason Vance?
I think
like twice.
Holy mackerel.
Is that what the JD
I was wondering,
stands
that was
for?
like what people that know him well call him
JD.
Jason Dickerson Vance, whatever his name is. I don't know what it is.
I was going to try to do a callback to the big words you used earlier, but I can't remember them.
Good. Because I used the wrong
It's a real politique.
What is his first name? I don't even know.
I don't know what JD stands for. Let's see.
Jasper?
James David.
James
Oh,
David.
I thought like hillbilly elegies and be like Jasper Dickens or something.
Jethro.
Jasper.
Jebediah.
Yeah, Jedediah. What? Duck Hunt.
So that's apparently
So he was the one that coined the whole
phrase on the
Trump
morning
weird.
show. On the morning
And that's
show.
another
Wow, what
thing
a
that's been
brilliant
like
man.
this little just the it's an overused phrase itself, but like a mind virus where as soon as they said weird, every liberal I know on Facebook, everyone in the media, oh, they're weird. They're just weird. It's just
They have these supercuts of that.
yeah.
And they're 4 or 5 minutes long.
Yes.
I mean, they just go through.
They're just programmed to say this
dozens
thing.
and dozens, and they're just all saying the same thing. And you'd think at some point there'd be some level of self-consciousness.
We can't all do this.
Or
This
shit.
this would look kind of dumb, wouldn't
Look
it?
kind of weird.
This looks kind of weird, but no.
Yeah.
I wonder, like,
No shame.
it's like just suddenly throwing Kamala to the Democrats. Like they're so excited about it.
Yes, and she never won any election in her
Right.
life. She, as of 2 months ago, she was one of the least popular vice presidents in history.
But this would
in
never.
modern
I don't think
history.
this could ever work on Republicans. I don't think you could just
No,
take their
you couldn't
candidate
just
and
take
throw
someone
a
that's-
random other guy that nobody liked before,
And
and they
just-
don't be
Just
into it.
astroturf all this enthusiasm for
But
them.
isn't that a window into the difference between the two
Yeah.
parties? And I'm not even saying which is good or bad. I'm
Yeah.
just like fascinated by the fact that like I know, like even like for me, when I was pretty sure one of the candidates was going to do well in 2016, I never thought it was going to be Trump. And I
Yeah.
remember feeling so when Trump got it, that was when I like left the Republican Party. I mean, and I know so many people that didn't vote for him. Like,
Yeah, I was a never Trumper, but now I love him because
Yeah, we've
I
talked
thought he
about
did.
that.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. But.
So all three of us, I didn't vote for him in 2016. I didn't.
yeah,
vote,
I don't know any Republicans that voted for him in 2016.
And see, that's the other thing
So
that I think
weird.
is so suspicious about the fake, like the enthusiasm.
Right.
Is in the times I was never Trumper. I guess we all were, and I don't know if you guys are you Trump supporters now?
Yeah.
Like, I know lots of people who moved from being anti-Trump to being pro-Trump.
Right.
I even know a handful of Democrats who, voted Democrat their whole life, but they like Trump and, came over to be Trump supporters. Now, I know some people on the left who started off hating Trump and still hate Trump. I don't know where they get all this enthusiasm, all these votes from, when I don't know anyone was pro-Trump and is no longer pro-Trump. Like, I don't see
Right.
people moving from the Republican Party or from like a position where they like Trump to wanting to vote for Kamala Harris. That doesn't.
Right.
That's not a
And that's another
movement
one-
that I see happening anywhere in real life.
Yeah, and that's another form of like it looks like this kind of propaganda.
Yeah.
Like these guys look like
It's like, who is actually
they look like
making
guys
that
look
move?
like Dog the Bounty Hunter, and they're like, I voted for Trump the first time, and now I'm voting for Cam.
Yeah,
I really want to like get the backstory on that.
it's a very strange thing.
How much money? You mean that kind of bad?
Yeah, that kind of backstory.
And Tim Walz, it does seem like a weird choice because he's the governor of Minnesota. I'm only starting to learn stuff about him. They say he's like very far left on a lot of issue, like the trans stuff and things like that. But he was also the guy that was in charge during the whole George Floyd stuff. So it's like, regardless of how people feel about that, George Floyd was killed in a Democratic state, in a Democratic city, run by a Democratic governor, and then Democrats rioted.
From Democratic fentanyl.
And then Democrats rioted and tore the city apart. And it's like now the governor from that state is who you're running on your ticket.
Well, he's the hero that threw that cop in jail or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but that was a long, protracted thing. I don't know how much responsibility he has for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep, it is kind of
It's
weird.
a waltz,
Yeah.
really, if you think about it.
It is.
Anyway.
Oh, and now instead of just white dudes for Harris, they can have balls to the walls for men who sport Tim Walz.
Balls to the walls.
Yeah, instead of
there you
white
go.
dudes for Harris, they can have balls
could
to
be
the
all those-
walls.
Yeah, all those Duck Dynasty
If the
looking guys.
Democrats do that, you have to give me credit.
Speaking of balls,
Walls, voters with balls.
Should we go for the our Olympic recap?
So, all right, we're getting into the Olympic, as avid Olympic viewers.
Have you guys watched any of it? I have not really this year. I've watched the recaps of a few
I've
events.
just seen tweets. That's all I've seen.
I'm a huge Winter Olympics fan. I watched the Winter
Okay,
Olympics.
not
but-
anything.
I never watched the Winter Olympics. I have indeed. Apparently, that's why I'm on this show.
Now we brought Michael on to be our
You're
Olympics
our Olympic
correspondent.
expert.
I've watched some
He's
of
our Snoop Dogg.
No.
Snoop Dogg?
Snoop Dogg was one of the correspondents for NBC this year, and he was doing
Olympics?
Yeah, he was a special correspondent, and he carried the torch. And I read today he made $500,000 a day to do it.
This is that guy.
You are not getting that kind of money. You got a sandwich.
I got a
at
glass
Heroes.
of water.
So was he commentating when this French pole vaulter got his bulge
I
crushed
don't know. I wasn't watching.
on the pole vaulting thing?
I guarantee you he had some comment, but I don't think it was on.
So does everybody know this story? There was a French pole vaulter. What was his name? Anthony Amor. Yeah, let's see here. Anthony Amorati. And he lost out on his medal because his crotch bulge hit the bar and knocked it off.
Yeah, like he cleared it, but then his crotch bulge caught it.
Yeah. I didn't watch the clip. Have you guys watched the clip?
I watched it. How can you not watch that?
I just haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet. But the way I also don't want to ruin the way it happens in my mind. It's very dramatic, and
It's like one of those.
the whole room is silent, and they're doing like golf announcing, like, and he's leaving his mark, and he's approaching the bar. And you just hear, whoosh, and then it makes a ding sound. It goes ding. You hear it.
I imagine one of those, those little door stoppers.
Yes.
Turns out neither of those sound effects.
Neither
is
of those
accurate.
things happen. Oh man.
Oh, I didn't hear the sound effects, but it did look like he was going to clear it at first,
Oh really?
and then
Was it?
It's like a loss and a win at the same time.
Yeah, because now he's famous for having the bulge heard around the world.
He's the most famous pole vaulter of the Olympics right now.
Yes.
No one knows who won, right?
No, nobody
Nobody
knows.
cares.
Nobody knows who's won any of these events. They just know who was the most like controversial or meme-worthy person from each thing.
Well, this guy was definitely a male.
Yeah.
yes,
Some of the other ones are more questionable. We'll get to that. Oh, here we go. Boxer with male chromosomes. We've been hearing about this. This boxer,
Imani Khalif.
yeah. So that from
Algeria.
Middle East.
Yeah. I didn't think, here's the thing. If it turns out like what they're saying now is that this Imani Khalif has, an intersex disorder or I don't know what you call it, condition, where this person has XY chromosomes but does have female body parts. I think it still raises questions of fairness just in terms of like the hormones and things like that, but I don't think it's exactly the same as the sort of transgender controversy that it was initially.
It's not the same as like if Conor McGregor threw a wig on. It's like, I'm a woman now.
If someone is born like that, lives life that way, I don't think that's exactly the same as a transgender person who's biologically and physically male pretending to be a woman.
I guess it depends upon which side of it you're focusing on.
Yeah.
So I agree with you that it's different from a trans. The problem is when it comes to questions of fairness and specifically safety with regard to boxing. Like, let's be clear. Boxing is a sport where you're literally punching each other in the face.
Yeah.
It is about when it comes to levels of muscle density and testosterone and all, like the differences between men and women make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And so one of this guy's opponents got punched in the face once and then quit the fight because she was
just left.
She just said, that's it, I'm out because this is not going to work out well for me. And when it comes to, so from a physical perspective, I agree with you. Intersex is different.
Yeah.
From trans.
But even from fairness, I think I'm not completely resolved that it's fair, but I think it's much more difficult because this boxer has also lost to female opponents before, and with any boxing's a physical sport, people are going to get hurt. And again, I'm not 100% sure where I fall on this because I don't necessarily think it's fair. This is the case where I kind of trust if they're testing for hormone levels and they have some sort of standard of what's fair and what's not.
I thought that's what they said is that the person didn't pass that test.
So I think they have different standards in different, what would you call them, like sports leagues or
the world.
So in some
federation,
not leagues, what's it called?
So they failed other
in
ones.
some
The
organizations,
Olympics are like, that's fine.
The standards are different. Yeah.
And I think part of the problem is that the Olympic standards, if you want to call them that, are famously lax when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
Where they play politics more than more than most of these world federations and stuff. So which is why this boxer wasn't able to compete in the world in other world competitions, but was allowed in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it comes. I mean, to me, this just comes into the whole. If I feel like this because we have two intersex boxers, they aren't the only one.
Yeah.
And so you it just feels like this was definitely kind of on purpose. I know I said definitely kind of, but But it does feel like the intersex angle is being tried here, where I'd never heard of this before. Now maybe it had all gone under the radar, so to speak. But I don't know. It contributes.
I think there have been issues before with women that have certain, like intersex or sexual development conditions where they have elevated hormones or they have some
in boxing.
In sports in general. I don't know if it's been in boxing. But yeah, there have been controversies like that before. I don't know if they've been any high profile as this. And I also think this one's very high profile because it was kind of initially reported as if it was this was a transgender person. I think that's what everybody kind of thought at first.
Not a woman is what they said.
Yeah. No, but they definitely came at it originally with the angle that it was a trans person. Not,
if you look at just the tweets, it sounds like it's a trans. So this is somebody who basically was born with both and kind of lived as a female, but it actually turned out to be a lot more masculine than.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird.
All right. Well, how about swimming in the, how do you say it?
Seine River, I think.
Seine.
Seine.
That's right. Let's piss off the French more. They deserve it.
Is it making athletes sick? What do you guys think?
Yes.
I read an article that said there was fecal bacteria that they had to delay the men's triathlon because there was too much fecal bacteria in the Seine.
Is that from all the pooping Frenchmen?
There was prior to the Olympics, there was an organized protest where people said they were going to poop in the Seine.
Do you guys know how? Because they claim they're going to clean it. So it's famously disgusting. Is that the idea? I don't know anything about France.
Yeah, the Seine has been...
And also that fat lady had her Last Supper in front of the Seine right before.
Right.
So that could have contributed to it.
Last Supper, so that means it was her last...
that's where
after meal poo. It was a long baguette.
But they have a long history of hating the Parisians, hating the Seine and how dirty it is.
They hate their own river?
Yes. The Parisians are really good at hating things. So they were that was where the French Revolution began. So they
So it's full of severed heads.
Famously, when Paris was chosen a number of years ago, they organized a bunch of protests because they did not want Parisians didn't want Paris to be the. And so they were mollified, apparently, with all these promises of how great the infrastructure was going to get. And one of the bullet point items was, "We will clean the Seine River." And then later on, a couple of politicians, including Macron, fine, sure. He said he would swim in it.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I don't think he ever did. Though.
No, he said he was going to. I don't know if he did. I actually don't know if he did or not. I
knew he
read
backed out at least once. So I don't know if he finally ended up. But when they were going to swim in it, when the day was coming, because they had basically their efforts to clean the Seine had apparently not gone well. A bunch of Parisians decided they were going to protest the way one does in Paris, apparently. And poop, have a large poop in. How
do you wash a whole river though? Like, is that? How do you do that without wash a whole river?
Oh, maybe they just. I don't know if
industrial size filter at the end of it or something.
I'm sure there's some environmental cleanup you can do to clean it a little bit, but then I think also probably maybe just being stricter about trash and pollution and fecal stuff going into it. But, if it's flowing, maybe we have to keep it clean for a few.
It's already flowing
beforehand, so
put a big jet on one end and blow it down, blow it out. I don't know how it works.
And there's the viral Turkish pistol shooter.
Yeah, this guy's all over the memes.
Yeah.
To me, he just feels like he just looks like a guy who just rolled out of bed.
This is another event where he got silver, but he's way more famous than than whoever won the gold.
Well, because everybody else in the pictures looks like they're dressed like some out of Lawnmower Man,
and they have high tech lenses to help them, and he's just with his regular glasses and his t-shirt, just kind of
he just
casually taking aim.
Very Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
He does look like that.
His quote, he says, "I did not need special equipment. I'm a natural shooter."
Yusuf Dikek.
Yeah.
Dikek? Yusuf? I don't know how you say his last name.
Oh, yeah.
Dikek.
I think it might be Dikech.
Dikech.
I think you pronounce the C as a
51.
It's a CH.
Yes, he's yep. And he just looks like, this guy is I showed up at the competition.
Just like a casual dude that.
Yeah, silver medal, no big deal.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And then there's one that everyone's talking about the most.
Mm-hmm.
Drag queens.
Yeah.
The whole
The
opening.
blue guy.
Yep.
Looks like the Spin Doctors lead singer, but he's blue.
He does look like that guy. You're right.
That's all I keep thinking of. Spin Doctors becomes a lead singer of the Blue Man Group.
That's right. I just call him Glitter Smurf. He's a
Is he the one who showed his balls, or is that a different guy?
It was a different guy. It was one of the drag queens where his nuts appeared to dangle out of his leotard at the end.
I'm sure that was an accident.
Yeah.
But the best part about this is the gaslighting.
Oh yeah.
Literally on the program in French, it said.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
Say it in French.
I'm not going to say it in French.
Has that been 100% confirmed? I've been looking for that. I've read that a few places that it said the event was officially called Last Supper on the Seine in French. But I saw people saying that on Twitter. Yeah, it's one of those things that I think they also tried to scrub if it was true, because I can't find any like firsthand confirmation that that's definitely what it was called.
Right, it was apparently the brochure at the place, so you would have to be I have to admit I did not see an actual picture of one. I heard that was the case.
But the other thing that I think was sort of disingenuous about the gaslighting of it, first it did clearly look like the Last Supper, and then the choreographer, this guy that organized it, he said it was based on this Feast of the Gods painting by this Dutch painter that's in this small museum in Dijon, France, and that it was a bacchanalia.
That wasn't the first thing he said.
What was the first thing that he said?
So the first thing he said, it was based on the Last Supper.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, and then he changed his story a couple days later, and then all the not all but three of the folks that were actually in the tableau said were posting various.
I know that Barbara Butch woman at the center said the New Gay Testament and posted a picture of the comparison.
Right, and she was saying cry more.
There's also the new testicles. The new testicles. Yeah, that guy.
But what I thought was disingenuous when they eventually got to this explanation that it's this other painting. There's a number of problems with that still, because the arrangement was clearly framed and staged to look like the Last Supper. And secondly, the Last Supper is one of those iconic images in the world.
Right.
It would be like me, modeling something after some obscure painting at a museum in like Pasadena that it'd be like, how could you not recognize that it was this obscure painting in this
Norton Simon?
Yeah, exactly.
Ignorant Christians.
And the other problem is that painter, what was he in the Caravaggio school or something like that? He was influenced by Da Vinci's Last Supper.
Yep.
So the reason they're arranged like that in his painting is because they're arranged like that in the Last Supper painting. There's no way to claim that it wasn't at least somehow inspired or reflective of the Last Supper.
And it's clearly a whole PR spin. Yeah. It's like they're not fooling anybody.
And that halo thing she was wearing was like, in terms of art history, it wasn't like the sunburst behind Apollo. It had the little. It was designed like Catholic iconography from the Middle Ages.
Sure,
very popey.
Yeah.
Oh, you know.
Not a lot of popes have that halo.
I just think their hats look like kind of like that a little bit.
Oh, right. You're just saying the Pope hat, right?
The fancy hats.
I guess from a certain angle.
Michael's a legit Catholic.
Right. I'm one of those dirty Catholics. You guys keep inviting Catholics on the show. My laugh isn't.
We love the Catholics.
And then just to top it off, we have this Olympic judo star who won the bronze medal and then dislocated his shoulder while celebrating.
Was that all you had to say about the Last Supper?
Oh, sorry.
You seem very educated.
He has a lot on
it.
it.
I'm just curious. Yeah, no, for real.
That's all I'll say for now. Well, maybe we'll say something else in the end.
Do you want to celebrate and dislocate your shoulder?
Right. Well,
There's nothing to say about it. It's just that it's kind of funny and sad that he won, and then he goes, yeah. And
Really?
Yeah.
And he's a judo star, too.
Judo.
Like, the whole point of judo.
I bet the guy that you just fought loosened him up. He's like, oh, that was me.
Locks and throws with
Popped
your
him
arms.
one move later.
Yeah. And then, the only one who can defeat me is me.
His celebration used his own momentum against him.
Although he did only win the bronze. So.
Oh, yeah, bronze medal.
There were a bunch of some funny stories from the match. The judo matches had some controversy to them within the judo world, where they were,
You're in the judo world?
I'm not in the judo.
Oh, how do you know about this?
I followed the Olympics. I know.
Okay.
Crazy that I watched the Olympics, but there were a number of judo matches where there was some drama between the. I mean, one of these guys. One of the things is when you get to the heavyweight, whatever they call was 100. Anyway,
the Barbara Butch leagues.
Yeah. it's just anyone over a certain weight. So the one of the top guys, he might have even won the gold. I actually didn't watch the end, the last match, but
it's like 300 pounds to infinity.
Yeah, well, no, he's 6'8".
And
oh my god,
311 pounds.
Wow.
That was his weigh in, and you see him like fighting these guys, and it's almost like one of those cartoons, like Warner Brothers cartoons. So he's putting his hand and they're swinging their arms underneath him. Oh, Bluto, right, from Popeye. Yeah. So it was at a certain point you're like, yeah, this doesn't seem like it's the same weight class.
Fighting all these little South Koreans.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the portion of the show where we bring you an upcoming movie
that we reviewed.
We got special access. A special theater was set up for us to go in. The producers were all there, and they let us because our opinion counts. This movie is called, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, Afraid. It's the word
so I was confused because it's a horror movie about AI. But when I saw that logo, I had no idea what it was about. It looked like something about Africa and AIDS because it's like AFR, and then it emphasizes the aid part. There's
a box with like a glowing golf ball inside.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what to make of it.
Well, that little golf ball, it's kind of like a little Siri that in your house, in the house. So this is actually a movie that me and Kyle and Eric all came with this idea together back at the Babylon Bee when we were pitching movie ideas that never got made.
Oh, wow.
But we had this idea for a smart house. But the house is programmed to think as, a culture does. So like when the dad is trying to just be a good dad or whatever, like the thing kind of overrides him. It's like a horror movie. Where
it says, no, you have 23 genders.
Or it starts canceling him or releasing all his tweets to the world and stuff. So we have these ideas. But so anyway, this is their version of that idea. And what do you think about it? I mean, I thought
I liked that every time the disco ball came out of the box, everybody started dancing to disco music. Right. I thought that was I didn't expect.
I thought the AI,
it took me out of the horror elements of it at times, but
I don't know.
Well, they just put the lid back on.
Disco's pretty scares me.
And also, I thought it was interesting how as the AI takes over more and more, all the characters become people of color.
Yeah, and
just leading into that.
It never gets the fingers right.
Well, what was that Gemini, Google Gemini, that was making all the historical figures.
Everyone is black.
Yeah, exactly.
A person of color. Yeah.
What was the other thing that was recently? Oh gosh, what was it? It was doing besides that. Oh, it was
saying
Google...
Trump photos were fake. It was saying like real pictures of the Trump assassination were fake photos, or that the Trump assassination attempt never happened.
Wait, this was AI was saying
AI
this?
was saying this.
Or I wouldn't admit it.
Meta's AI was saying that there was no actual assassination attempt.
Oh, actually was saying that. Like
I think so, yeah.
I remember with the autofill, like you try to type in assassination of D.O. and it'd be like Donald Duck.
That was Google. Google was like burying the story, but there were people that were showing screen grabs. If you actually asked Meta, I don't know, in that search bar, if you ask it like tell us about the assassination, it said there was no actual assassination attempt on Donald Trump. And then I read this week, Mark Zuckerberg apparently called Trump to like apologize for that happening or something.
Trump claimed that.
Yeah.
And Zuckerberg didn't deny it afterwards, so could have been.
But this movie, I give it 3 evil disco balls.
3 thumbs because that's how it made the hand.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
6 thumbs.
6 thumbs.
My aunt shares these photos. Oh man, I wish I had brought one to put up. They're clearly AI generated, and it shows like a black lesbian family with kids, and they're in the military. And they're all holding, except for like the lady's arm, instead of holding in their arms, like it's one arm going together. And there's like 9 fingers here and another hand coming from nowhere. And
there'll be like an extra leg.
Yeah. But it says like, why don't people post pictures like this anymore? Like we should acknowledge families like this.
The ones
I'm like, you can't see that's fake.
The ones I would see on Facebook all the time, they've died down a little bit, but I still see them. Have you seen those ones? It'll show like an African child with like a balloon sculpture of Jesus or something. And it's clearly like AI generated weirdness. And it would always be like like share this if you love Jesus, or like why won't people share pictures like this?
Yeah.
It's all fake. And then there's also strange ones where it's
There's like 6,000 tags on it.
it's like Jesus rescuing people from sharks after a plane crash, but like all the arms are messed up and like it's just, they're insane. There's ones with like Jesus made out of shrimp and stuff like that. There's just all these strange AI generated pictures, but these bot accounts share them to like just pool engagement from, or farm engagement from, you know, old people that want to share pictures of Jesus, basically.
That's one of the craziest things about AI is that the more we're living on screens and the more that, you know, our success is defined by engagement. How many clicks do you get? There's nobody that can create clicks faster than AI.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
So once AI gets to the level, and it is, I remember these old pictures, similar to what you were talking about, Ethan, where they have all these, and that was one of the dead giveaways was, you know, too many fingers, you know, hands were all messed up. Hands are apparently really hard for AI. But that was last year. And
Right.
and it's AI's gotten
Getting better. And the video stuff's freaking me out too.
Yeah.
much better now. And in 2 years from now, what's it going to
Oh,
be like?
yeah.
And so it raises the question of when you're measuring success by engagement, when the automated engagement gets better and better, at what point are you going to say, well, how do we know whether we're actually successful, or is most of this traffic just
It's horrible.
AI generated?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what it's a threat to, I think, all, you know, online videos, and I've always seen it as a threat to art and comedy, because the more people use these platforms like TikTok and Instagram and Twitter to build their following, they're playing into an algorithm, even if they're not using AI yet. And it's detrimental to comedy because you're supposed to come up with stuff that's original or creative or kind of has a surprise to it. But the algorithms all run on formulas and what's repeatable and what can be replicated and imitated again. And so it just makes, it incentivizes very lazy, repetitive kind of crap to be produced.
right, and inside the algorithms, they deliberately inject an element of randomness so that they can imitate creativity. But it's not actual creativity.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like, this is going to be, I'm not afraid of the death of comedy or the death of art. I'm afraid that people won't notice comedy or art anymore.
Yes.
Because they'll be so swamped with all.
You're not afraid of that?
Exactly.
No, because they're just.
When we saw the movie, it wasn't that
Oh, I
scary.
was totally afraid of that. This movie made me so afraid I didn't watch it. So there was that.
But watched it. Fellas, it's so
Suckers. You all watched it.
No, that's 100% true. Yeah.
I these are not machines. They will never. They're not machines that can think. They will never think. They will never be creative. They're just pattern recognizers. No matter how complicated they get, they're just going to be pattern recognizers. And but they are a danger because they can swamp the real stuff. And that's what I'm most worried.
And there are already, you know, like you said, you see how the technology has advanced already. It will have the power to dupe people. And the other thing I was thinking about is, you know, how fast it'll develop in that. And then also, anytime there's something like this with AI, whether it's generating video or images, I always think if this is the version that's publicly available, what does the military and the government and other, you know, governments around the world, what do they already have that they're using? You know,
I should bring it sometime. My wife was listening to, I think it's This American Life. They're talking, there's an AI episode. They talk about where they get AI. This is guys that are actually working on AI. They get it to write a poem, I think, about death or about like its existence, and like it writes this super dark, crazy sounding poem about the death of mankind, and like it's freaky.
Well, it's also self-referential. It's taught itself. We talk like that because it looks. We anthropomorphize things, animals, machines, and so
men dressed in dog costumes.
What is that?
Hello, Kitty.
Yeah.
It is those obsessions with cats and dogs, but we do that and we give it credence. And I listened to that episode. I heard its poems, and it was talking about how you would kill it eventually, that it's scared of dying, and it wasn't really saying that. It's just a pattern imitator. There's a lot of poetry about death and self-referential stuff and killing people.
What made it so scary is they had what's his name? Read it. Remember? Who's the cave paintings guy?
I don't know the guy that
German. Super famous director.
Werner Herzog?
Yeah, Werner Herzog.
Oh, okay. He has such a great voice.
he
That's
read
who
it.
read it?
He read it.
man.
That
Yeah,
was
he reads it.
Herzog. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that is just apropos to nothing except you bringing up Werner Herzog. You ever see the interview where he gets shot in the leg during an interview and keeps going?
No.
He's being interviewed. I think it's somewhere in Los Angeles. He's standing on a hill and somebody is interviewing him outdoors and they're talking about his film career or something. And you hear shot in the distance and he goes, "Oh," and it hits his leg and the filmmaker is like, "You're bleeding, dude." And he goes, "It is not significant." And he just keeps talking and keeps doing the interview after he gets shot in the leg.
Wow.
Oh. And it's not AI.
It's not AI. That one was before the dawn of AI.
Anyway, if that sounded like a good movie,
Yeah.
August 30th, go see AI'd.
Oh, that
AI'd.
you pulled out the real pronunciation.
That might be it. Afraid.
AI'd.
Frey-eyed.
I would hate having to describe what
terrible,
movie you
man.
working on. Oh, what movie you got the part, and your friend's like, "Oh, you got a part in a Blumhouse film?" Yeah, what it's called?
Yeah.
It's called Afraid, but then the A and the I in it are like a red, and because it's AI, and to them,
And then they go, "Wait, so does it have to do with Africa and AIDS?" And they're like, "No, you idiot. Oh, what are you talking about?"
Anyway, thanks to everyone who helped put this together. We're going to thank Matt McDavid back there chuckling and running the pictures and the images and put all these mics
Making this
up and
whole thing
everything.
work.
Basically making everything
Yeah.
happen and do all the heavy lifting and throwing us back out.
Real work.
Thanks to Michael Grumbine
Yeah,
for
thank you
joining
so
us
much
this
for
week.
being here. This was great.
And never again.
I feel like you know more about everything we talk about than we do.
Yeah. That's
Probably not true.
I know nothing about
Most of it,
anything.
90% of it.
Comedy. Not. I don't know why I'm on this show even.
I don't think Frank and Trevor contributed anything this week, so screw them.
Well, but thanks for being who they are.
I have to
Story
say,
contributors on Discord, I thank you guys for sharing ideas.
look,
Nobody helped me enter the doc
you
this week, so screw you guys.
every week you do
You
this
got a
on the
week
show.
off. Yeah.
Every week he does this on the show.
Yeah.
And every week as Trevor and Frank have stopped contributing the last 3 weeks, his comments get more and more pointed.
More bitter.
Aw.
It's pretty funny.
It's also because I get the notes up to like really last minute.
Yeah.
So they don't have a chance to anyway. And they have actual lives.
Our story
Children.
contributors on Discord, whatever that is.
Yeah, those guys are good because they actually send in ideas, the stuff we could post. And
our editors, including Daniel States, Johnny Tuts. Johnny Tuts, he submits some
Johnny
jokes,
Tuts submits
too.
jokes.
Yeah.
And he helps with some editing. Johnny Tuts is the most reliable of all of them.
Nice.
Dawn's she's very reliable also. I didn't see her this week, but she deserves a week off.
And
She might have
Bard,
got
whoever
married or
Bard
something.
is. Bard sounds like
They're all from Discord.
Bard sounds like a poetry writing AI program.
Or a Hobbit character.
And of course, Austin Robertson, the voice of the Talk Down.
Happy birthday, Austin Robertson.
Happy
today.
birthday, Austin.
Austin.
Yes.
How old is Austin?
I don't know.
We don't care about you that much, Austin.
And to you, the viewers and listeners at home, who somehow managed to find time to listen to yet another podcast, here ends the reading.
The Talk Down is filmed in a dark room in front of a couple of fake plants. For more information or to become a subscriber, go to thetalkdown.com.